Yep, yes.
And we are live. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Alex. I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing great, Mr. Manya. How are you?
Pretty well, pretty well. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you uh, connected to this nice webinar that we will present with Alex today. Uh, we are not a lot connected right now, so let's wait for 2 or 3 minutes before to start, and
We go from there.
we will be able to, yeah, to check that. Um, bing, bing, bing.
We could start to
All
talk a
right.
little bit about insights and uh, why it's important to have the right insights and stats, right? I've noticed
Yes.
lately that um doing some meetings with clients, that sometimes when you don't have the basics and also the foundations in your business, it's really hard to sort of to structure uh, a, a good insight in Pipedrive. And I would say not even just in Pipedrive, but in any insights tools. Um, I was asking the client the other day, why do you really need that particular insight that he was asking me for? And he didn't know why. He just, in his head, he came up with like, I wanted to say this in the CRM. So when I asked him, the reason and the objective behind of the insight, also to understand and also translate the technical part of Pipedrive to the reality of a visual graph and a chart, the client didn't know why he was really asking for that. It was just something that they wanted. So this is something that I find that many companies, they don't necessarily understand why they are searching for the data and then what they're going to use the data for. Sometimes they just come to you and it's like, oh, I want to see these numbers here and then that graph in there. Uh, but why are they going to use that? And then, um, this is something that is super interesting to set up and to understand to basically create a really good stats and then keep continuing getting this data. I don't know if you have
And
something
me,
on your side, to share also, Luca.
yeah, exactly. Even though to use before to use the stats, you need to have a proper strategy on how to use Pipedrive. Because if it's the mess, if it's the mess on your Pipedrive account, into the deals, into the custom fields, because you are not using the custom fields as expected, because you are not using the deals or the contacts as Pipedrive is asking for it, the stats will be useless. You know, it's going to
Pretty much.
be, you will not be able to get the right data, the right information that you need. So for sure today we will speak about the stats insight and how to, what's the best practice. But before, you need to have a clean database. You need to get some updated deals on the right dates, on the right time, by the right users, because behind, for sure, the stat will be like
Yeah,
the
you
mess.
want to be right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, as we always do in Pipeline Fever, our nice English webinar, we don't talk much about presentations. We like to sort of jump in and show the real cases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share uh, with you my screen up, and up. Look if you can confirm to me that it's nice and visible.
I can
Yeah.
see your Pipedrive
L-
account.
Lovely,
Yes.
lovely. So already, just for you guys to understand, we have several demo accounts. So sometimes it's a little bit French language behind. Some would be maybe custom fields and so on. So don't worry about it. If you don't really understand something that says in there, it might be a custom field that we have in our own language. And also, this is something interesting to share with you guys is Pipedrive, they have multiple languages. So I can change my system into kind of like, into French, into Portuguese, into Swedish, or whatever other language. However, custom fields do not translate automatically. So that's why sometimes we see in our demo accounts some custom fields that doesn't have the English translation, as I would see in here. So personal preferences, company settings, and so on. But if I go maybe on my pipeline stage, which is kind of like not normal, it would keep the text format in the back. So Pipedrive does not translate. I think it could be kind of cool to be able to do that, especially some kind of fields, the text fields, to say to the system, okay, well, this custom field is text, translate to whatever language that my system is using. But we don't have that today, and maybe one day we could. So talking about stats, as Lucas said before, and I was mentioning, it's really, really important to understand the data that you're going to have. Some people, they come from Excel, some they migrate from another CRM, and then they bring data into Pipedrive. First thing is to understand how the data works in Pipedrive, okay? When I'm going to go and set up my insights, Pipedrive is going to ask me for some logic conditions. And if I don't understand those logic conditions, I might not get the right data. Or I might be frustrated saying like, oh, I cannot get the report that I want. It might just be because we don't understand the conditions. Okay, so that's really, really important, is to know how that works. Second is, as Lucas said, set up correctly. Okay, I have a custom field. Which type of custom field it is? It is a text data, it is a single option, it is a multiple option field. So that also is going to have a direct impact on the conditions that we can use in our system. So this is something like when we are setting up an account for a client, we analyze that. If it's an Excel, okay, you have a column with data in there. Which type of data do you want to see in the CRM? Is it a text data in there? Do you want to pick that column and transfer into a single option field? Therefore, then in your CRM, you're going to have the options related to those custom fields. Anything that you want to add, Luca? Also, like, and also people, if you want to ask questions and, on the fly, we can also do that. So in Pipedrive, we can see that, we have several, let's say, built-in tools. We have the deals, we have also the leads, we have campaigns, we send emails, we have activities, So out of all of those, let's say, modules, we can also get insights. Of course, if you're going to use activities, we need to remember which type of scenarios and conditions we can get from the system in the activities. If we are using the deals, okay, which sort of conditions I have related to my deals. So that understanding is very, very important. I've noticed some clients, they started Pipedrive before they set up, they've been using for 6 months or so, and then what happens, they come to us and it's like, no, I can't set up my insights. I don't understand this, I don't understand that. But because they didn't start correctly. And therefore, to change that sometimes is very messy, sometimes it's a long process. Of course, is also doable, but is another energy that we have to kind of, to go through and spend it again rather than doing it right at the beginning. Okay, so understanding again, okay, how many pipelines I have in this account, for example, I have several. When I'm going to build my insights, do I need to get all pipelines, or do I want to get a number of pipelines? Do I want to have one deals or lost deals out of all pipelines, or a few pipelines again? So understanding the logic behind is very important. And it's the same for the stages. In here I have prospection, I have like my first contact, I have the RDV programming, which is like I schedule my my meetings. So I can also pull data based on each stage, which is also very important. Something that Pipedrive also do, which some CRMs and some other tools, they don't, is to analyze data on win and lost by stage. Some CRMs, they would have a column, okay, I stage win and I stage lost. In Pipedrive, we don't really have that. In Pipedrive, I can pick this deal here with mark, and I can straight away mark that deal as lost. When I mark this deal as lost, already something that in a CRM, analyzing data is really important, is to know, okay, what is the reason why I'm losing that deal, and then picking from a list. That list, it's also very important to know, is it a list that any of my sales rep can change, can add values, or I wanted to kind of create a structure that I can pull data and understand and read that later on. Okay, I'm losing deals on my demo stage. So if I'm losing deals on my demo stage, something might be happening. Is that because the clients are not engaging? Is that because I'm not passing the value of their product, of the whatever it is, to my clients? And therefore, when I get back to them, when I do my follow-ups, they say, they ghost me. They just don't show up. They don't come to me, and then I eventually lose my deal on that demo stage. Or is in a negotiation stage. Could be the same. I've done a demo, happy, everyone is happy, we go into negotiation, and then negotiation doesn't go that well, maybe because of budget, maybe because for whatever other reason. So picking the right data here is really important. So something that already before starting to think about your stats is also setting up those elements. So for example, in our company settings, we go loss reasons. We have a list of loss reasons. Another thing that I find very important is, for example, not allowed any free form reasons. Because in Pipedrive, you can pick one of those. Okay, it is very expensive. Project is being delayed. But then I can also add another layer of a note, for example. Okay, project's been delayed because budget hasn't been approved this year. So therefore, I'm going to, lose the deal now. Maybe I can put an activity for me to remind me that budget might be approved in 6 months' time, and then maybe I can again try to reopen the deal and then convert. So that is structure extremely important. Not having this correctly, not having this already in your mind to sort of match those elements with your stages, I find that it's where I ask the clients, okay, and why do you need the report? Or, what is the objective? What is the reason why you wanted to have that? For me, it's important to understand that. Is understanding that you can then change your sales processes, you can make them better. You can see that, do I give value to my clients? So it's key for me in here. Again, then if we go just in some sort of settings, okay, and we go maybe a little bit of data fields, other things that we have, we're going to have labels and so on and stuff, but also custom fields. I might want to have a custom field, the source of the project, is it one of those? So I wanted to make sure that this type of custom field is how reflects the data that I wanted to show and to report. Okay, so making sure that this is also correct, it's very important. So make sure before setting up those things, are they in the right object also? Is that custom field really related to deals, or they are more related to an organization? Okay, so picking the right object in Pipedrive, it's also very, very important. Because when we go and then we start looking into particular data and creating the reports, that's going to be where we're going to find the conditions. Okay, so something that we have in here in the insights, we have basically, let's just close this and let's close kind of reports. So if we close all of them in here, we see we have 3 elements. We have our dashboard where we can then put reports in there. We can create dashboards, and those dashboards will be like, okay, if I have, let's say, a particular plan in Pipedrive, okay, I'm not going to say necessarily a plan name, but today we have the growth one, you can have one only. If you have a different plan where you can have more dashboards, okay, you can create more. So depending on your plan, you'll be able or not to create several dashboards in here. Second is goals, okay? So I can set goals to myself, okay? I wanted to make sure I close that many deals per month, per year, or whatsoever. And I can also have goals per the team, okay? And the third element is the reports, okay? The reports is where I'm gonna create those and then use them in one of my dashboards, okay? So if I pick a particular dashboard here, for example, the sales 2025, we will have a bunch of reports inside of the
Before
dashboard.
before to move on these reports, there was something that you guys need to understand on Pipedrive is that any kind of reports, calls, or dashboard that you will create will only be visible to you per default. That means that when you create a dashboard, when you create your own report based on the data that you can see, not just your data, the data of the company if you're an admin, and of your team if you have different people on your team, you will see your dashboard that you build, but not your colleague if you do not share to him. So that's important because sometimes some people came to us and say, "Hey Alex, hey Lucas, I can see my team reports. Why it's not possible?" It's because each report, each dashboard is personal, and we have the button. We are able to share to a different person internally for sure, but we are not per default. It's private. It's important to know.
Exactly. It's a good point because many people, some clients, they go and let's say Luca goes in the account, he starts to create the reports, and then they say, "Hey, Alex, the reports are ready." I come here and I said, well, "Okay, but where are the reports for 2026? I can't see anything." And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, but it's in my account." Ah, okay, it's in your account. So as Luca said, it's per user base. So great to be aware of that. Uh, and then not create that confusion of like, where are the reports, in which account we hold the reports. Another thing that we can remember is that we cannot transfer that. I cannot pick a report from here and say like, okay, can I transfer this to Lucas account? Because let's say it shouldn't be on mine. We're gonna have to create the report again. So just be mindful of that because you might create a bunch of reports in here. It's like, okay, can I just transfer this to Lucas' account, please? Because I'm not responsible for the reports. If you're not responsible for the reports, just make sure you create the right account with the right user to avoid that kind of being able to duplicate the reports again. Okay. Another thing that it's important to know also is the number of reports. Pipedrive, they recently changed that. So now it's kind of like also automations. Before it was per user, and now it's kind of per organization. So you have a total amount based on your plan. Okay, and then you can kind of see in here the percentage, the kind of like the total amount that you have. But as I said, is where you will see your reports. And then dashboards, I have the dashboard in there. So this here is my dashboard view for 2025. We can see that it's highlighted in there. And in here, it combines all the reports that is under this tab over here. Nowadays in Pipedrive, you can also create, let's say, this folder segmentation, okay, or kind of this small blocks where you can hide and then create stuff linked to only one of those. So things they are shared with me. So, I have all those reports. So they are not mine. They are not from my account. I'm not the owner of those, but they're being shared with me. And we can see in here, I have viewer. I cannot go and modify those reports. So they're basically just for me to visualize, which is really nice if I'm maybe the manager and I wanted to sort of know to share that to my team. I then go and I share, and then it will be also able to see that, but they cannot modify. And then it comes to my reports. And then here, the same thing. I could also create, okay, another folder. So I have reports, but maybe I wanted to sort of have like, sales team EMEA South, for example. Okay, when I save that, all the reports for EMEA South will be under that folder. I could create also more other folders and then link them. So like I could say that this one deals, it goes into EMEA South. I could say that also the activities is part of the folder, and then we have like that. Okay, so really nice to structure and nice and clean, organized, and you have also the icons to identify. Uh, Something that I like personally is the alphanumeric. So you start with the number and then go into sort of your name. It creates these clean things. Sometimes also like the emojis, because you can see in here in our pipeline we have a few. It gives a bit of color and so on, and also to quickly identify something is it's very useful. You could also use emojis and stuff in some custom fields. Okay, I don't think it's that we have in this account, but just to show you quickly, I would have in another one that I can show you later on. So just to continue back in here in our insights, so reports, goes, and dashboards, okay? And then when we go create one of new item in here, let's start maybe with a report. I'm gonna have the options to pick which report I wanted to report it from, right? And here is where is that kind of understanding data. What do I have in my CRM? How is that created? That's where it's very, very important. So if I have activities, I want to get like, activities performance or email performance, which is linked in Pipedrive to the same category. Okay, I could pick one of those. If you have campaigns in your account, you can also have performance from that, okay, or conversion. In campaigns, there are two tiers. So there are the standard tier for campaigns, which will give you a number of insights, and you have the premium campaign, which then you can have more types of data in your insights. So for campaigns, two options. Now we have also people, for example, okay, how many contacts I created this month, how many organizations. It could be very good for like, a SDR company to know, okay, how many new leads got created in my CRM this month by a particular SDR person, okay? Same leads, I might have a form where my leads are coming from, and then automatically is going to create a lead on my leads section. Okay, so again, I could have the sort of data. Of course, our deals, in deals we have a little bit more options in terms of choosing a report, and revenue forecast. So also directly related to deals. Okay, but in here is going to be product and deal revenue. So of course, to use products, products will be linked to deals, and then therefore it's in here. We could kind of create one, let's say, activities report where I wanted to sort of, let's say, understanding the performance of some types of activities. Let's say I have activities that will be calls, or activities that will be maybe like, SMS or whatever type that you structure in your CRM. Then I wanted to sort of make sure how many of those activities are done this month, or they were created this month, to sort of to understand them. So if you get activities and I go continue, Pipedrive will sort of show up a generic condition over here, okay? It would also give you some options in terms of charts, okay? Do I have a bar chart in here, so a column chart, a bar chart, a pie, just numbers, okay? Or also a kind of a little table, sort of like an Excel style of data. So I can pick from one of those. Also understanding that some of those, like pie chart, I have only two types of metrics to measure from. So I can measure by something here, okay, to give me the options, and I can also segment it by something else in there. However, if I go into my bar chart or the column chart, then now I have, let's say, three metrics that I can sort of visualize from. I can visualize by measured by. So is there kind of a number or an amount? It could be a total value. Or is it, then in here viewed by something and then same segmented by something. Between the bar and the column, they're pretty much the same. It's just it changes the measured and viewed by pretty much in a different location. Okay. But let's say that I just wanted to sort of a nice camembert, like, we kind of French. So, let's keep a like nice cheese format chart, our camembert chart in here. And then we can pick in our conditions. So I wanted to sort of understand how many activities the type, okay? And for example, I can pick then my activities. Really important to know in here, okay, if the activities in Pipedrive, we have types of activities, we cannot delete them. When we create an activity in the system, today, the only option, if I don't want to see that anymore here, or if I don't use that, is to deactivate. So some clients, they start to use, and then they start to create a bunch of activities, and then they're like, I just want to delete some because I don't use it. You cannot. So it's going to be in your system, but as a deactivated activity. You can go and change some. Let's say I don't want to use visit anymore. Okay, my activity type visit, it will change to something else. So rather than creating a new one, I can deactivate, or I can go and change that to something else. Back to what we wanted to sort of get as a metric in here is, so my activity type, I wanted to calculate how many calls that were done this month, for example. So I pick the type, so a specific type, and straight away I already have our little camembert in here. So activities call done and to do, so it's right there. And in here is the number of activities. But that's for my whole account. And this is where understanding data in Pipedrive is crucial, okay? Because I can see the number in there, but it does not reflect really this month, this week, last quarter, or so on. So those would be my conditions over here, okay? So understanding this is very, very important. Some other CRMs, Excel tools, or and your Excel might not give you the exact format that you have in here. So understanding and translating that to here is fundamental. Okay. So my activities now, I wanted to say, okay, the deals, for example, is not empty, because I wanted to make sure that the activity call is always linked to a deal. Because I could have an activity call that might not necessarily be linked to a deal. It might be calls that I do for my prospection, and therefore I don't want to have this in here. So you see, understanding already those are very important. So again, deal types calls where I will have a deal, because the deal, the activities in the deal is not empty. So it must be a deal linked to it. And then I could also say something else. The done by, or what do we have in here? It could be up, mark as done time. I wanted to sort of say that is this month. Okay, and of course, as my demo account, no data. So also understanding that, okay, why is nothing here is because for sure this is our demo account. I don't have any activities that that I've done this year and this month. Anything you want to add, Luca?
Yeah, another advice that we can add as well is to have always a filter on your report based on the date. It's really mandatory to get the data and to know if you want to analyze in terms of activities, in terms of deals, it's mandatory. In terms of contact organization, a bit less, but for the activities and for the deals, it's mandatory to have a date based on the due date, based on the marked as done date, based on the creation date, based on the won deal and lost time. It's really mandatory to get to have some dates because it helps you to analyze your performance based on a timeline. You know, based on a time last month, last year, last quarter, next quarter, and so on, and to compare as well what you did compared to now. And you will see as well on the dashboard when Alex will go, we go back to the dashboard, you will be able to modify the dates for all your reports and as well for the users. So it's not mandatory to create multiple reports to analyze, okay, what is the data for Alex, a new report for Lucas, another report for Gregory. No, you just like put it as neutral as possible and you will be able to add a filter based on the user on just on the dashboards. So it's just like important to know as well to always have a date and as well the user thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you have a date in here, it's a thing that Luca is explaining is like when you go in your dashboard after we see it, you are able to overwrite the uh, date time that you have in here. As I say, I wanted to know activities markers done this month. I don't have anything. Let's say, I want in here to be for my whole year, so then I can get some data. So in here I have 5 activities markers done, and let's say then I will save that. Saving that Pipedrive now is going to ask me, okay, what is the name of the report? It could be activities done 2025 or 2026. I wanted to put on my sales EMEA South for that. And do I want to add straight away to one of the dashboards? Sure, I should have created a dashboard 2026, for example, but let's just add to this dashboard 2025, okay? When I save that, now the thing that Luca was mentioning, okay, when I go into my dashboard of sales 2026, well, in here it should be really 2025, just to compare exactly. It's over here. We have now those 2 options. How do I want to see that dashboard? Do I want to see the dashboard with a custom period? Because this back on the days, kind of going really back, it didn't have that. So you would have to create one report for this week, for this month, for this year, and so on. Now, it's super easy to go here and say, okay, show me this dashboard, but for this quarter. Pipedrive will go in every single report that's in here, and you will kind of mask that date period that you have. That's why it's important and it's nice to have that date brackets inside, as Luca was mentioning, because then Pipedrive comes in here and then it will show you, okay, this quarter, that's the numbers that you have. So when you're having a meeting, a board meeting with or a team meeting, you can quickly just analyze data straight away. When you delete the kind of filter, everything goes back to the original data that you have inside of each of the reports, okay? And also it can be by user. So, rather than saying like, the custom period, I could then check those metrics by, okay, and what about Gregory? What are Gregory's numbers? So we can see there, like, then it changes also for the user, okay? So here, super easy, nice and clean to visualize users and a particular date they want. And of course, you could also use this little guy here, the reports generated by AI. We're going to see that at the end because we will see it that today, if you do not understand really well yet, if you don't kind of grasp a bit of these conditions that Pipedrive has, you might get some false data in there. Okay, so something that, yeah, really nice to generate with the AI. However, you need to be very specific on your prompts. Okay, so we will see that a little bit later on. Just going back in here. Okay, we just saw one report for activities. Let's say that now I wanted to sort of go there and change something in this report in here. I can just do straight away, go in the kind of pencil, and then edit my report. So rather than maybe saying, type of is calls, I wanted to maybe say like, is any of. So I wanted to get calls, and I wanted to also get maybe meetings or emails, or something else that I wanted to sort of add to my list. Okay, so I could pick all of them, or I can pick some, and that's because I have this nice condition in here: is not, is any of, or is not any of. So really, really great now. So those 4 activities. If you go and and if we're gonna see, if I go and try to create a new report, Pipedrive is gonna ask, oh, do you want to save there, or do you want to discard the last editing that you did? You can say like, no, keep editing, and then you need to save. You could also save as a new one. I don't know if you've seen it. There is an option. Let's say if I delete those ones here now, he asks me, do you want to save, but save as a new report? So rather than creating from scratch, I quickly now can just go and save as a new report, maybe activities type, email, activity types as another one. Show you quickly, I have to save, otherwise you're going to have the same message as before. Another quick report over here. For example, if you are using your campaigns in the system, okay, just going to give you a little sneak peek of how that is displayed here. Same thing, a report for campaigns. Okay, do I want to see the conversion, kind of like, how people click, how people kind of like, do I have unsubscribers or so on? I could use that. So far, because in this account we have the standard module, it's pretty basic in terms of conditions, but we can still see. So in here, I can, campaign is, okay, which campaign do I have? And we can see that if I upgrade to my premium version, I will be able to then have more options, okay? But okay, campaign is, we can see that I don't have the options any off, which will give me then, okay, my campaign promo CRM and my campaign Easter 2025, for example. I can only pick one on the standard plan, okay? Then in here, I wanted to sort of see the conversion by open rate, or by click rate, or by, as we said, unsubscribe rate. Do I have any unsubscribe for this particular campaign, to see how am I doing? So I find kind of very nice and easy, especially because this is inside of your CRM. You don't have to leave here to go and search. Of course, if you're gonna go a bit deeper in terms of marketing, in terms of other stats, yes, sure, it'd be nicer to have other metrics in here. But in a very easy and simple way, you can already see, okay, for that campaign, how many unsubscribes I have, okay? How many people got deleted?
Uh, I can't hear you. I think I can't hear you, Alex. No, we still can't hear you. Yeah, I
Yes,
doing
back.
sound. Yes, back. You're
1, 2,
back.
1, 2. Yes, okay. Sorry for that. That's kind of like, Mac AirPods, when he connects on the other side in there, he just goes, and so I put my Bluetooth off. So I was just saying, back in here in the campaigns, very easy also to kind of get other metrics, in on a campaign that you've done. Okay, so again, I could just save the report, and for example, no, I don't want to sort of put in a dashboard. I just I wanted to check the numbers, and I just wanted to have inside of a folder. It doesn't necessarily need to be in one of the dashboards. I could just kind of have in here in the report, have a folder, which would be maybe my marketing campaigns. Okay. Campaigns, and then I'll save, and then I could then go in there and then put that in the sort of in this folder. Something else that we have in here is the option of creating goals, as we said before. And same scenario, I can create one per user, it's for myself or for the whole team. Okay, so if I go create a new goal, Pipedrive then is gonna ask me, okay, which goals are you trying to achieve? So is there a deals goals? Is there activities? I wanted to sort of make sure that I hit the numbers of deals that I have this month, or how many deals I'm gonna close. So it can be one of those. Same for activities. I wanted to make sure I hit my calling numbers for the month. Maybe, as I said before, I'm a SDR or a AE, and then I need to do some kind of calls and to make sure I close my quota for the month. You can then generate yourself a set of goals in here, and you can also be the manager to sort of to track the team's capabilities and their stats. So if I go deals, maybe deals one, or just maybe I wanted to see how many deals I won this month versus another one, or it can also be per team. So in here we see if I do deals one, do I want to have any assignee? Is there myself or is the whole team? Okay, or the company. So kind of picks everyone in there. Depending on your plan in Pipedrive, you are able to get the team, and depending if your plan has a team feature, then you are able. Otherwise, you don't. In this case, for example, I could say everyone. Then I wanted to know deals won in which pipeline. Okay, is it a particular one, or it might be all of them? So I could say like, no, I just wanted to know in my demo pipeline for that particular product, for example, and I wanted to track the, let's say, per month. I could also say, quarterly, weekly, or per year. We can leave that as monthly. And something that is nice in here is for I can just go back and then say I wanted to pick this from January already, maybe even January 2025, and that kind of doesn't have an end. So it's an ongoing goal that I have or the company has. Okay, so if we say from 1st of Jan 2025, do I want to get the metrics per value? Do I want to achieve a certain value, or do I want to achieve a certain number? So it can be value or it can be the count. I don't know if we have some per value, but let's say $1,000 per month. And once I click save, they're pretty low value though. I should have put more. Strong company sells like a lot. But even with my $1,000, I didn't even hit target on in some of them also. Should have put like $10. I'm not even sure if I will hit because the difference is minus 1,000 anyway. Just for the exercise and for the example, right? But we can see that in here for that goal for the entire company, we only hit target 3 times from the period of Jan 25 to December 25. So we can already see when we exceed the targets or we just hit the target, but also in which month we are under. So really nice to understand and to kind of to see like has anyone achieved target or not. It doesn't necessarily give you the some specific metrics like why I haven't achieved those goals in here. Sure, we could kind of create then a column in here that it might be more specific. So, okay, this month, why I didn't hit that, and I could maybe have a specific column that would tell me, like, let's say deal acceptancy. Have I accepted all my deals for the particular month? So I could see, okay, deal acceptancy, yes or no. Because if the deal wasn't maybe accepted, it might be that I cannot kind of deliver the number because we set up something that, well, I automatically disqualify the deal. So it shouldn't count on my objective. However, if I have in here a column for due acceptancy and I say, yes, I accept that, or, I have settings that it says that the deal is accepted, well, I should be able to close that. I should be able to then to count that in terms of my objectives. So the dynamics of how you work and how you calculate that, it's also important on your side, okay? And then here is just a very easy way to see that. Sure, because we started in here, that our one time is evolving. So, it keeps going. So until, there is no end. So it starts from there and then it keeps going. And we can, like, hands together for January and Feb for the team, over exceeded already in February. March, we still kind of like, traction's going, some deal accepted, but we haven't closed yet. But, we're going to hit targets for sure. So a very nice way to see it. And of course, once this is, let's say, added to the dashboard or just saved, I could add in there. I could also go and I could go and change some parameters. I could say, okay, I don't need to have the duration from 2025. I just wanted to sort of count from 2026 onwards. Or maybe I wanted to also add another pipeline, because maybe for long cycles. So I wanted to make sure that the long cycle deals would also enter in their objective. Okay, so now I calculate per 2 pipelines rather than only one, and automatically that will be updated in here. Very simple and very nice. Anything that you want to add in here, Luca? Kind of
No, it's pretty clear.
good.
It's pretty clear for now. Yeah, it's nice to have as well these goals. I found that there is a nice one, which is the if you create a new goal, you have the based on the deals. If you create a new one, yeah,
Yeah.
you have the forecast. The forecast one, yeah,
Sorry.
it's really nice when you set up as expected Pipedrive because you have forecast based on deals and the expected one date based on all pipelines. And for example, put it on a yeah, for example, 1,000.
That
uh, let's see if we have some data for 2026. Yeah,
hmm.
okay, because we have we are.
Sure. Of course we have.
But it's good to have to see that we are maybe you can put more, not 1K but 20K per month. Modify your forecast and say 20K.
I like to increase that for sure. Why not?
And
20K. Ooh.
it's gonna be more relevant. It's gonna be more
Yeah.
relevant. So we know that we generate almost 7K on January. In Feb we are at 23. And this line is just like, okay, in January we need to generate 20K. In February we need to generate 40K, 60K, 80K, 100 in April, and so on and so on. That's why we need to generate at the end of the month, at the end of the year, 240K. And in green it's already the won deals. And if we have into our pipeline some deals as open, still open, and with an expected close date in, for example, May, well, we will have this blue line as well could come, and we will be able to see this
Let's do
one.
that.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
let's show the guys. So we said, like, I guess it was like in that one. Let's pick in here. We have Uh, and, can increase that maybe to to 30, 35K, and then you hide the option of
I don't know. I don't know if it's hidden. Could
yes,
we
yes,
hidden the?
I think it's hidden in here. I'll test up. Um,
Search with Command F. Expected close date.
there you go.
Here you go.
We can put in all of them.
It's because it's on
And then
the
it's
fish.
and let's change to summary and save.
Exactly.
Let's go back to our deal. And we said which was the 35 one. And let's put like a, let's just update this. Sometimes Pipedrive does not display straight away. And expected close date right there. We said what? We said next month, right? We can even say, well, let's say April. I think I'm closing that in April. And then let's go back to our insights. And it was the forecast goal. And here we go. So great, we see that then because of the 35 that we added, then we jump to this much. And if we keep doing that, up, let's just go in this one here, deals, and it can be any in a way now because we put all pipelines. This one here, 15K. Save, update that view now, and edit the expected close date. So you can even be April as well. Insight, when we update that, already up. So yeah, really nice to sort of to see the increase in here. I don't know if you like, I guess that would be a question if I could add the kind of the points in each of the month. No, we cannot. But in here, we can see kind of the goal duration and, which will be in there. And that we can see kind of how we evolved per month as well. So yeah, really nice. And if you want to see for a particular pipeline, if you're doing really well, again, you can just change in here to one of the pipelines, and then the number is will change in the background. Okay, so yeah, really good kind of separated feature inside of the insights that we have. So we were talking about the AI generated
Exactly.
reports. Okay, nowadays everything is AI and so on. So we're gonna go here. Okay, give me a report. So I can go like I want to see deals one last year. And I create. So we see that sometimes not understanding data, what the AI inside Pipedrive, so that's something that I know is within the tool, okay? We're not using any other LLM or module, is inside Pipedrive, is within Pipedrive, the AI. And we see that sometimes we don't really get the right kind of information. In this case, because it was very simple, I want to see deals won last year. Okay, pretty good, pretty straightforward. You gave me status one, great. And then he picked the custom period. This is little tweaks that today the AI is not kind of really able to do, because what I would like to do in this report is like one deal is last year, not a specific custom period. I would like to use in here on my conditions last year. Okay, because there is a huge difference in there. If I say last year here, change humanity, and I save that, in 2027 is going to be deals for 2026. So automatically it's going to be updating. If I keep this as a custom period, okay, this will be only from 1st of January 26 to December 26. So sometimes some clients, they go and like, oh, my reports are not displaying correctly. Why is that? And then you enter in here and you see that the condition used is not a dynamic time of date, is more a fixed time, kind of like that custom period between this and that. And then of course, if it's not in their window, you won't see the data. Another thing that you might have to understand is deals one is that sometimes while creating, the system will also give the one date, okay, is a particular time. So just be aware that if you have this one date in here, it might screw up your reports as well. Because I wanted to know all deals one that, okay, he enters there. And if, for example, if you have one that says in here, deal created on is last year, you have a completely different data in there. So making sure that you understand that, okay, the deal was created, I mean, I said next year, but it would be impossible. But if I say that the last year, and I change that to whatever a specific time, your data here, you pick that also, not just because it's one, but it's one and it was created in this time. Because I wanted to maybe see like, okay, use one, and I wanted to also add the filter. The one time is this year, okay? But the deals, it could be created in a different time that when I won. So this is what's really also important to understand. You created has an impact on when I win the deal, yes or no. So for you, when you're creating that, you have to kind of have the understanding, okay? Because those ones, sometimes they might be conflicting, and sometimes you wanted to make sure that you put them really aside and make sure you separate them really well. Okay, and then yeah, again, you pick your type of chart, and voila. Luca, do you want to add anything else to this? Because I think we kind of getting
No,
to the
yeah.
ending here. Sorry, I wanted to. We start with the AI, so that's why it's important to understand the prompt. Okay, the more data driven and aligned with Pipedrive data, the better your AI reports will be. So make sure you put in your prompt exact specification. So like, I want one deals, one last year. Pipeline is all pipelines, for example. I could then in here specifically tell which pipeline I want, or I can say pipeline is all pipelines, but segment them per pipelines. So I'm getting the reports out of all pipelines, not one specifically, but I also wanted to segment them per pipeline. So if I have a number of pipelines, I have that. I could also pick them and say like, use a bar chart. And I could also describe more in specific details the things that I want, even though sometimes I don't get it completely right. For example, we're just going to test it in here, and I wanted to say that and the label must have Lyon. because I know that I have Lyon as a kind of a label in my, and if I hit create, let's see what we get it, because I know I have deals one with the label Lyon. I know I have deals in all pipelines. I wanted to have a chart bar as my report, and I wanted to segment that by a specific type. So I wanted to segment by pipelines. Great. I wanted to have deals one. Perfect. My period is last year. Great. Still, again, my custom period didn't work that well yet, but we can see, we can kind of like, we still come here and then just change that. And that's why, again, make sure you understand data, because if I keep this report, I save it. Next year, I go back to this one and I review it. Like, I'm not going to have the right data because my custom period will be 2025. But it gave me the label Lyon, which is great. I've tried before, just before uh, the webinar, and with some of my prompts, it didn't really get the Lyon. So I think still some kind of working getting done behind, and the AI is still evolving and so on. But I guess the more you push data and the more you study here, well, maybe not helpful when you describe why. The system will learn from it. We say, oh, okay, well, you wanted to have the labels from there, and then eventually, like this will be getting better and better over time. So yeah, and I also tried asking, for example, ChatGPT or Claude or other tools to sort of say, okay, generate a prompt where and you describe and you tell those tools to say like, oh, but make sure you understand Pipedrive data, you understand how the logic of Pipedrive works, because it's different than other CRMs, as I said before. Okay, and then I got a prompt. However, in that case, didn't. I think I might even have I might copy and paste in here. I think I have one in here. Just gonna copy this one over, and in here, let's just discard that one, cancel, discard, and let's just generate another one quickly. And up. So that's kind of a prompt that I did before with, I think I used Gemini or ChatGPT for this one. And I told the system, oh, please create a prompt for Pipedrive to show me exactly like that. Show me so return deals where status is one, and one time is with him last calendar year, because I wanted to make sure, it's related to that. So ignore at the time, because I wanted to make sure I want all the deals won last year. Doesn't matter if they were created or not in a different time. So they could have been created in 2024, for example, but I wanted to get that at the time. And in here I said like, label equal to Lyon, and I said I wanted to segment the result only by pipeline, and let's say not owner, let's just say segment by pipeline. Let's see if we get the same result as before, which is pretty much the same kind of prompt, So they should be understanding already what I want, and maybe because I know the user already generated one and prompt one, and here we go. It's my first prompt. I didn't get the result, right, Luca? When we were testing before,
Yeah,
I got some
exactly.
and we can see that now it's right there. So we can see the kind of that pushes through, and I guess because I save here and I save there, the system validates that. Oh, that prompt worked. That prompt is validated. Back in the learning knowledge base is kind of getting a green tick. So okay, well, while we display to the user, so far it's fine. Sure, maybe we should be maybe changing that to kind of like this year or last year or so on, to be more like dynamic data and time driven. But so far so good. So however, keep in mind that yes, you might not get the exact date, because you need to understand the conditions. Okay.
Okay.
Question? Anything? How is everyone
Looks,
doing so far? Good.
yeah, all good.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I think we can wrap it up for today, and maybe
Exactly.
have a keep in mind something else around this subject, or just keep in mind when again when you're doing reports or campaigns, um, it'll be based on your tier if you have the standard or the premium one. Same when creating reports or even goals. Um, in your options, you might have team, you might not have teams, because but that's kind of
Exactly.
that's what it is.
Uh, so thank you, Alex, for this amazing webinar regarding insight. As usual, really interesting, and insight are, we can say, it's the benefits and it's the end of all you set up, all what you did on Pipedrive before. If you set up again right as expected your Pipedrive CRM, you will have nice tool and a nice insight to get and to analyze after. So it's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
you need to personalize and to set up your Pipedrive account as expected and
Exactly.
not as you want.
Absolutely. And something that we didn't see it today, but you could also have exports, from those views. You can go in there and then, like, create an export on PDF, create an export also to an Excel, and then treat data, or have even cross data manipulation with another platform, with another tool. So very useful as well, those exports in
Exactly.
Pipedrive. Okay. So
Thank you.
anyway, thanks, Luca, and we see you guys maybe, I guess, for the next
Yes,
pipeline fever, right?
exactly.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys. I'll see
Bye bye.
you next time. Bye bye.